Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 388. Today, we're going to talk about the 9 truths they don't tell you about being a leader. You're going to hear the unspoken truth bomb that they never put in the handbook. There's so many things about leadership that nobody ever talks about. So today, we're going to get to it and give you the real juicy stuff, the stuff that you wish you knew. And you know what? Even the Instagram audience helped out with this and gave their input, which I think is so powerful. So head on over to Instagram at Ordinary to Badass, follow me, and make sure to respond to my stories so you can get recognized in these episodes as well.
Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or badass, I'm so glad you're here. And this episode, it's a truth teller. Get ready for it. Because there's a whole syllabus of leadership lessons that no one hands you once you get promoted. It's like, here's your new title, your new team, and by the way, hope you figure out all this emotional whiplash and identity shift stuff. Good luck. Here's the keys to the kingdom. That's how it happened to me. I don't know about you. But it seems like it happens too often where we have to figure this stuff out on our own. So today I'm breaking down the 9 things they don't tell you about being a leader, but they should. The quiet costs, the private moments, the realist truth that too many of us women have to learn the hard way. Let's do this. Okay, let's talk about the badass move of the week. This week's badass move of the week is for those of you that made space to listen. Whether someone came to your office to talk and you heard them out, or maybe it was a challenge you faced and you took it to your team and you didn't just hear them, but you heard them out. You asked them for the perspective and made them feel seen. You don't always have to go with what they say, but taking in their opinions, listening to their perspectives, that right there builds bridges. So to me, that's not just leadership. That's how trust is built. And that, my friend, is a badass move. So this week, I celebrate you if you listened in the workplace at all and you took in what other people had to say. It's not just about making every single decision and being hardcore about what you think. It's taking in other perspectives and listening to your team. So kudos to you. The next segment is from the inbox. The question was asked, how do I get recognized for a promotion at work? I work hard, but don't seem to get promoted. I hear this all the time. And here's the brutal truth. Sometimes you're just too darn good at what you do. You're so dang solid at what you do in your current role that promoting you would actually make your boss's job harder. Why? Because now they have to replace you, train someone new, handle disruption. And if you haven't said a word about wanting that promotion, they might just assume that you're happy where you are. Meanwhile, someone else who may not be as qualified is asking for that promotion. And guess who gets moved up? Not the best fit, but the most vocal. So here's what I want you to do. Speak up. Make your goals known. Say, I love being here and I want to grow within the organization. And then ask, what would it take to get to the next level? Don't wait for recognition, create it. Sometimes you do have to be vocal if you want your situation to change, and there is nothing wrong with that. Speak up for yourself. After all, you're a total badass. You deserve it. So just learn to start saying that more, to speak up for what you want. Okay, 9 things they don't tell you about being a leader. Number 1 is you might lose friendships, even if you're the same person. I once had a friend tell me flat out, I don't stay friends with people once they become supervisors. Even if I wasn't supervising him, he just didn't want the lines to be blurred. So I don't want to be disciplined by a friend. And it hurt. It stung. But at least he told me. There were plenty of other people who just wouldn't tell me why they didn't want to talk to me, why they didn't want to be friends anymore. And sometimes you lose friendships because you just can't do the same things that you did before. So, like an example, I don't eat in the lunchroom, not because I'm trying to be distant, but because I want the team to have space to be themselves without them feeling like the boss is watching whatever they do. Leadership changes the room, and that's just real. The second thing that nobody tells you about is you cry in the car and then have to walk into the office like a boss. Sometimes leadership hurts. You try to appreciate your team, and then someone takes offense. You send an email with the best of intent, and then it lands sideways. Been there. I once planned a meeting for the people that I supervise, and I was going to bring food, and we were all just going to hang out and talk and get caught up on what was going on. Nothing too formal. Unrelated to that, I made a decision that upset one of the people I supervise. And he took the day of the meeting off. He didn't show up. He was like, nope, I'm going to be sick that day. That hurt my feelings. But what can you do? I apologized. In those situations, that's all you can do. Recognize your intent, what you can do better next time, and apologize, right? But here's the truth. You're going to get it wrong sometimes. Apologize when needed, adjust, and keep showing up. Number 3 is sometimes it feels lonely at the top, and not because you're doing it wrong. It's lonely because you've shifted perspectives, because you see things differently. You've got more responsibility and less of an emotional safety net. What they don't tell you is you're not alone. You're just ahead. Find your people, vent, laugh, get the support you need. And you don't have to do it alone. There are other supervisors like you that you can talk to, or listen to podcasts like this, the Ordinary to Badass podcast, to hear from other women going through it, or to hear tips and advice to help you get through those hard times. And just because it might feel like you're alone, it doesn't mean that you are. And also, it doesn't mean that the journey's not worth it. There is a lot that is rewarding about leadership, so stick with it. Okay, number 4, this is a big one. I like this one, and I wish it was more well known or more talked about. Imposter syndrome doesn't disappear with a promotion. You can be a leader and still feel like a fake, still not sure that you have all of the credentials needed. That's normal. Once you get promoted, this fear that you have, this feeling like a fake, it just changes costumes. New title, but the same sneaky thoughts. Am I disqualified? Did I screw that up? Are they going to find out that I have no clue what I'm doing? Sheryl Sandberg in Lean In said that just because I think it doesn't make it true. So no, don't believe every thought that you think. Just because you think you might not be qualified for a position or a promotion doesn't mean that that's true. And self-doubt, it doesn't mean that you're not ready. It just means you're growing. It takes guts to push past that self-doubt because we all feel it. But it's recognizing like, nope, that's not true. The more you listen to that self-doubt, the more it brings you down. So you have to learn to like talk back to that doubt, right? To don't just accept it as true. Okay, number 5, and this one came from Gucci at my gym power on Instagram. And she said that she wished she knew that it's not about being popular or being right. In Gucci, she nailed it. Leadership isn't high school. If you're doing it right, not everybody will like you. Your job isn't to be liked, it's to lead. Number 6, that you'll have to figure it out on your own. Too often, people step into leadership roles and it's like, here's the keys to the kingdom. Good luck. That's often what leadership feels like. There's minimal guidance, big expectations. And here's what I learned. I totally didn't know this before, but you don't have to know everything. You just have to be willing to learn. Whenever I'm in a new position, I keep some sort of document, like keep a OneNote and have how you do what you do in there. So when I go ask somebody a question, then guess what? I document how to do it. Whether it's a mentor, another supervisor, heck, I have asked the people that I supervise. When I was put in a new unit that I had no idea how things were done, I went experts in the field, right? I went to the people I supervised and asked them how it was done. Or I got the unit together and would ask questions. And then I documented it. Yes, I could change it if I needed to later, but I found out how they were doing what they were doing and why. So don't be afraid to ask questions. You can create your own document to refer back to later. Because I don't know about you. Sometimes I'll ask a question one time and then I'll forget it and I'll feel stupid going back and asking the answer again. So that's why I document it. But that's what's worked for me is, yeah, they're not going to necessarily tell you how to do things, but I'll ask questions and then I'll create something that I can refer back to later. Okay, number 7, this one also came from Instagram, and it's you have to be strong while holding other people accountable. And man, holding other people accountable without being a micromanager, that can be a balance or a balancing act. And then having the ability to stay strong, even when it's hard, to protect your own mental health while still carrying everybody else's energy. I just want to remind you, you can do hard things and lead with both clarity and care. You can hold people accountable for their actions. Holding people accountable, that sets good boundaries for the workplace. People know what they can expect. Okay, number 8. What I wish I knew about leadership but didn't know is you'll be managing conflict whether you're trained for it or not. Employees who don't get along, partners with egos, vendors who talk down to you, you get to experience all of it. One time I was working with a vendor and he was just rude and condescending and always seemed to talk down to me. Matter of fact, it was everybody who spoke with him. But guess what? Only one person from our agency, you guessed it, me, could talk to him and have communications with him. And so finally I said, we'll call him Josh. And I sent him an email. And I said, "Dear Josh, your responses come across as rude and condescending. In the future, I would appreciate it if you didn't speak to me like that." Was it uncomfortable? Yep, you bet. Necessary? For sure. Sometimes we have to have those hard conversations. Nobody tells you how to do it, but it has to be done. And so sometimes just being direct. Or you can give them an out. Hey, I realize this communication is being done via email, so there's room for misunderstanding, but this is how I'm interpreting your message. And then guess what? I've got an apology back from them. The way people communicate might not always change, but if you're direct, if you set the boundaries, I know it helps me feel better, and there has been times where it's helped the communication change. But be willing to do the hard things, to have those hard conversations. And when I first started, I felt very uncomfortable with all of this. So you grow with time. Take it one conversation, one conflict at a time. And the more you do it, the better you will get. But just because you feel like, ooh, I don't like dealing with conflict, I don't know that I want to do that, doesn't mean that you're not a good leader or that you can't improve on it. Okay, last, number 9. The thing you didn't know about leadership is that you'll become the unofficial office therapist. People feel safe with you? Great. That also means they will come to you with everything. The drama, the tension, the personal stuff, it's all there. So listen to what they have to say, but try not to absorb it. You can support them, but don't take sides. Realistically, you're not their therapist, but sometimes it feels that way with all the things coming your way. You can be a safe space without being their emotional landfill. So, what did you think about those 9 things they don't tell you about being a leader? Does it make you want to still step into a leadership role? If you are a leader, do you agree? Did you know those things? Did you not know those things? I want feedback from you guys on what takeaways you got from it, what questions you have, all of the things. You can hit me up on Instagram at ordinary to badass. Okay, let's get to the mic drop takeaway. Leadership isn't about getting everything right. It's about getting real, staying human, and choosing courage over comfort again and again. You're not just leading a team, you're leading a standard, a vibe, a future version of what leadership can look like. You're leading like a badass, and not everybody can do that. Okay, the pop culture punchline. This episode, Beth Dutton energy. Did you ever watch Yellowstone? I was a fan. But Beth Dutton, what I did like was her no fluff, no faking it, just fire, loyalty, and don't mess with me kind of leadership. She was very confident in herself and what she believed and what she stood for, and that I love. Beth didn't soften herself to be liked. She sets the bar high, speaks the hard truths, she protects what matters, and doesn't apologize for taking up space. That's you. That's badass leadership. Own it. Okay, here's your affirmation for the week, and I want you to say it with me. I don't need to be perfect to be powerful. I lead with purpose, presence, and truth. If this episode hit home, grab my free Breaking Barriers guide, ordinarytobadass.com/barriers. Remember, hit me up on Instagram at ordinarytobadass. You can screenshot this episode, throw it in your stories, or just DM me and tell me which of the 9 truths hit hardest for you. Share this episode with the women you admire. Not just the ones that are already leading, but the ones quietly holding everything together behind the scenes. Because we're not just building seats at the table, we're building tables with better damn questions. Keep leading, keep growing, and never forget. You don't know anyone an explanation for your strength. You were born to lead like Beth, to lead like you, to do it your way. With that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinarytobadass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinarytobadass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.